And so now that our chicken has rested, I'm going to show you how to carve your chicken. And the first thing to think about is which knife you're going to use. And because of the positioning of the bones on the chicken, you won't be needing a large cook or chef's knife to do that, because the blade is too wide to get around the rib cage and through the joints of the chicken. And so the best knife to choose would be a boning knife, which generally has a little curved part here and then a fine tip, and then it's also a narrow blade so that it's quite maneuverable. The other choice is also a utility knife that generally come in different sizes from 4 to 6 inches long. And this knife, it's a little bit wider than your boning knife, but it comes to a fine tip that will be easy to maneuver around the rib cage and through the joints of the chicken. And so today what I'm going to show you is how to cut the chicken into 2 halves so that you could serve it a half chicken to 2 people, or a leg, 2 legs, or 2 breasts to 4 people. And so now with your chicken facing towards you, remove the rubber band or twine holding the legs together, and then we're going to find the middle of the breastbone and we're going to cut on the right side of the breastbone. So here's the breastbone, and I'm just going to start towards the tail end and then just come down to the right of that, and then with the tip of the knife just keep coming down, and you can feel the bone that you're bumping into, the rib cage, and then you'll just get onto one side of the wishbone, and then that wishbone will take you all the way down to the bottom of the chicken on the right hand side next to where the wing joint is. So at this time you can see that I've got my knife in to the chicken about halfway into the knife, or about 2 inches. Then proceed to go back up to the top of the chicken and, angling the knife away from the rib cage, start to cut the breast away from that rib cage. And you can see how I'm just using that knife to push the meat off of that rib cage, and as it's fully cooked it should come away quite easily. Now as you do this, just use your hand, your left hand, to keep the chicken away from the bone, and then at this point you can see right down into where the wing joint meets the chicken breast. And so now I'm just going to get over the chicken, go around the back of the rib cage, and at that point half of the chicken will start to come away from the bone, and I've grabbed the bottom of the wing and the top of the breast with my thumb, and that's where we can see the wing joint, just in here. So I'm going to take my boning knife, and as I pop open that wing joint I'm going to cut through it with the knife, and now I've released that wing joint. And now to get the thigh and drumstick, I just cut towards the back of where the tail end of the bird is, and I'm going to do the same thing. I've got my hand supporting underneath the chicken where the thigh bone meets the back of the rib, and then I've got my thumb on the top of the drumstick, and I'm going to just gently bend that out until I see the thigh bone detach from the back of the rib. And so now I'm going to just take my knife and gently cut between the joint and then all the way to the back of the bird, and you can see how that comes away quite easily. And then from here I've turned the bird over, finished cutting through that crispy skin, and then I've removed those 2 joints from the bird. You can see there's a little bit of meat left in here along the breastbone, and also at the back and just underneath the rib. So this is the meat that we'll leave on there for our chicken stock. And now to get the other side, it's just the same process but in reverse. So you start at the tail end of the breastbone, find that breastbone at the front, and then come down to follow that wishbone once again. And then once I reach where the wing bone is, once again, and I'm about 2 inches into the knife and I can feel the wing bone at the bottom there, then I'll go back up to the top of the breast, and using the knife I will cut down the breast meat and then pull it away gently with my thumb. And then I'll find that wing joint again and then use the knife to cut through that. Turn the bird around and then cut along where the thigh is and gradually start to pull that away. And once again, with your thumb supporting the top of the thigh and your fingers underneath, just pop out that thigh joint, and then using your knife just simply cut between the joint and remove the second half of the chicken. Then I'm going to cut those two pieces, and then you're left with just a little bit of meat on this side between the wishbone and the breastbone, and some of the meat at the back and underneath for use in your chicken stock and soups. And so here you have your deboned rosemary garlic chicken ready for the dinner table.